Everything is changing quickly for the US dollar, and this past week we've seen two major events that are going to completely change the future of our world. The first event was the announcement of a new BRICS payment system that will in fact challenge the status of the US dollar in international transactions. But what's even bigger is the shocking announcement that after a 50-year run, the agreement between the United States and Saudi Arabia to export oil exclusively in US dollars has officially ended on June 9th, 2024. And guess what? The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has decided to not renew its partnership with the US, and instead will open up the Saudis' lucrative oil trade to other countries and currencies. For the past 50 years, the US government has mandated that oil must be sold exclusively in US dollars, elevating the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. It was honestly one of the most lucrative decisions the US government has ever made. But a world in where America is the sole superpower is officially over. Earlier this week, Reuters reported that Saudi Arabia has now joined a China-led central bank digital currency project in what could be another step towards less of the world's oil trade being done in US dollars. Earlier this week, Joe Biden and French President Macron reached an agreement to use the profits of frozen Russian assets to send additional funding to Ukraine. This is a dangerous move from the US and French governments because it not only violates international law, but it exposes how much at odds Western leaders are with their populations on Ukraine. 94% of Americans and 88% of Western Europeans believe that NATO member countries should push for a negotiated settlement for the war in Ukraine. The US government has weaponized the dollar to the point where other countries are watching and are concerned about the long-term effects of holding too much dollars. One of those countries is of course China, who was once the largest holder of US Treasury bonds. At its peak, China held over $1 trillion worth of treasury bonds, but after the US launched a trade war against China, China has shifted their strategy. They no longer want to hold excessive amounts of US Treasury debt and are now offloading these debts in exchange for gold. China is not stupid, and it knows it could be a future victim of US sanctions itself. What I want everyone to realize is that once you remove yourself from the Western media bubble and start to observe global trends, you'll notice the majority of the world are united in what they want. They want economic freedom, and this is why a shift away from the US dollar has begun. They want equal treatment, and this is why 88% of the world once again supports Palestinian statehood. Finally, they want a multipolar world where countries can do business and transact with as many nations as possible. Once again, this is why Saudi Arabia, who is also considering a full BRICS membership later this year, is opening up their oil trade to more countries and currencies around the world.